Tim Graham is the director of media analysis for the Media Research Center, and he joins us now with more on Governor Cuomo. Tim, thanks for being here.
Sure.
I want to ask you, of course, the mainstream media has been extolling Cuomo for much of the pandemic. Now he's in trouble. How is the media covering the allegations of sexual assault?
Well, they actually are covering them. I would have to say that probably what happened here was it was reported by the New York Times, and so it matters. I mean, obviously, if this was reported by the Washington Times first, or Fox News, or the New York Post, they tend to say, well, we can ignore that. But this was in the New York Times, so they decided this is real news. I mean, we saw it on Sunday morning. The networks, the morning shows were all reporting it. Well, I guess except for CBS, which isn't much of a news show on Sunday morning. But they're covering it now. I think the real issue is why they weren't covering it months ago. I mean,
Yeah,
Lindsay.
I wanted to ask you about that, if I can interrupt you, because you've written about the extent to which the mainstream media praised him, of course, during the early months of the pandemic. What was their motivation behind praising him, and how do you think that has helped him up to this point?
I think they were very eager to promote this narrative of he was the anti-Trump, he was the counter-Trump, he was the real COVID president. Remember that CNN wasn't only running the White House coronavirus briefings sometimes. They were routinely running the Cuomo coronavirus briefings in Albany, nationwide, CNN was. So the idea that he was the other president they were pushing it in their quote-unquote news judgment. And they did present him as the leader. I mean, Lester Holt interviewed him on NBC and made him sound like Churchill in World War II. And, they're not reminding anybody of any of this now. But yeah, they did a terrible job last year. I mean, we found, 400 mentions of him on the network newscasts. Just 2 of them mentioned his disastrous plans with the nursing homes.
Yeah, so fascinating. And now, of course, the New York Attorney General is issuing a report that showed the state's nursing home death toll from COVID could be 50% higher than the Cuomo administration reported. How has the mainstream media covered this new report coming out showing the cover-up?
They didn't really want to cover that report. And what's interesting about that is, here again, the Attorney General of the state of New York is a Democrat. The only real pushback that Governor Cuomo seems to get that matters to the press is Democrats. It's almost like you're sort of watching a fight go on inside the Democratic Party, because when they do stories about Cuomo, you're generally not going to see Republicans, not Republican critics in New York State or New York City. You might see Mayor de Blasio, a fellow Democrat, trashing him, but it's almost like this whole story is a fight between Democrats.
Very interesting. And just in a few minutes, what do you predict going forward, Tim? How's the media going to cover Cuomo as he seemingly continues to implode?
I think they're going to look to get beyond it. I think we would probably suggest, if we're going to be skeptical, is sort of the Ralph Northam model here in Virginia, where there was an uproar over a photo he was taken where he was either the guy in blackface or the guy wearing the Klan hood, and then he decided he wasn't either one of those. They never resolved who he was, and he's still governor. So, I mean, I think that there's going to be a tendency here to let him be governor, and he may even run for re-election. It may be up more to the Democrats than it is to the press.
So interesting. All right. Well, Tim Graham, we appreciate your time and your insights.
Thanks.